Good evening, America and the rest of the world. Welcome to WeGro's AMA here on February 23rd, 2022. Can you believe it's February 23rd? I can't. I'm so delighted to be here. My name is Todd Dector, and I'm here with the lovely Rachel Amin, my co-master of ceremonies.
Hi, everybody. Todd, tell us that whole paragraph of stuff you have to say so no one gets in trouble.
I will do that because we're all about compliance and setting realistic expectations here at WeGro. So thank you so much. For all of the legalities out of the way, the statements, opinions, and analyses presented in tonight's AMA are provided as general information only. Any opinions, estimates, probabilities expressed are merely a current snapshot of today's disposition and are all subject to change without notice. While all the info prepared in tonight's presentation is 100% intended to be accurate, we know that there can be potentially some inaccuracies that the presenters and hosts who make no express guarantee as to the completeness of the information shared. So any information that is, not info, contained in tonight's broadcast should not be construed as forward-looking statements pursuant to any projected earnings, profits, investment advice for making buying decisions. Now that our attorneys are satisfied, I'm delighted to introduce to you our amazing team. I'm going to start with a 16-year financial advisor, investment counselor, crypto pioneer, and social media wizard, Mr. Justin Mayer.
How's it going, guys?
Thank you for being with us, Justin. We also want to introduce our original founder, our president, and a award-winning industrialist who's also for those who don't know, a seasoned film and video executive holding ownership control with 3 different entities and has been a very successful entrepreneur in emerging markets. Mr. Sean Crawford.
Hey, guys.
I'm also proud to introduce our COO, who also is our CEO of the data portion of our business, who is not only a 27-year experienced founder, president, COO, CEO, and a big data, fintech, Marcom, healthcare, education, and tech services guru, but he's our beloved Rick Gilchrist.
Hey, everybody.
And last, but certainly not least, the grand poobah of them all, the CEO and our 20-plus year, not only alternative, holistic, world-class speaker, but an entrepreneur, a veteran in publishing circles, also a technologist himself. We're so proud to have our CEO and leader, Walt Rampata. Welcome, Walt.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to start with Rachel, who's going to lead us into the state of the industry. Rachel.
Terrific. Well, thanks for sharing all the backgrounds. I always think it's important for people to understand that WeGro is not just a bunch of cowboys. It's actually a bunch of businessmen and women who have had a lot of success already. And I love that you're pouring your energy and your talents into WeGro. With that said, I think crypto is about to become much more mainstream. I am the person who is on the calls to kind of talk about the mainstream stuff. But Walt, I saw something interesting that to me signaled a change in the crypto weather, and it has to do with Venmo. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, it's not just Venmo. It's many of the cash app providers today, the 2 biggest specifically being Venmo and PayPal, are going to be charging a flat fee for crypto transactions under $200. Now, that's where things start to differ based on which provider you're specifically talking about. PayPal and Venmo then start to differ on the tiers as you go up above $200, that they will either provide flat fee services or a tax at a particular tier. So it's interesting because in many ways it validates that some of the major financial players in the space are recognizing crypto as something coming towards them that they need to prepare for. And to provide better structures for their customers and the cryptoverse at large, if they wish to be able to transition with the change. So it's an interesting occurrence as of late. But it's not surprising because we're seeing that happen in many ways on a global scale. We talked about this on a previous AMA. India just a few weeks ago legalized cryptocurrency. Now, not unlike PayPal and Venmo, they themselves have a taxing structure that's going along with that. But now they have, oversight into it, and it's a part of their ecosystem. So interestingly enough, if you look at them as a population of the world, it's one of the major players, and so to see that happen at that scale is a major, in some ways, stamp of approval that digital currency and cryptocurrencies are something that is coming towards us very quickly, and not just being legitimized in the dark rooms, and that's the stigma that unfortunately is a challenge around this industry, is overcoming some of the meme coins, the poo coins that are in existence today that are purely around taking advantage of people. And when you start to really understand the mechanics of the blockchain and the currencies and how they all operate, you can start to grasp why this is heading in this direction. Interestingly enough, here on our home soil, there was a recent tax ruling by the IRS that there was a couple, I believe it was in Kansas, and hold me honest, guys, it's been a few weeks since I've read the article, but there was a couple in Kansas, and they had received, and they were taxed on their holdings. And their argument was, I shouldn't be taxed on my holdings. I should only be taxed on it if I sell it and I realize a gain. And ultimately, their argument held, and the IRS refunded them the amount of money that they had on their taxes. Well, interestingly enough, the couple came back and said, no, we don't want the refund. We want the IRS to actually physically stipulate, how do we do this? What are the laws around this? Help us as common folk who are really trying to head in this direction understand, how does this intersect, and what do we need to report, and specifically when. For those that are trying to be compliant, give us that answer. So it's going to be interesting over time to see what comes out of that. We're all anxiously awaiting, because right now there's a lot of nebulous gray space that causes a lot of confusion and creates a lot of fear. And so I'm excited to see where these things go, because what it's doing is it's fully validating what we already understand is coming towards us. And that is a digital currency model of some sort. I mean, we saw it during the pandemic. You couldn't walk up to a Chick-fil-A or a drive-through and use quarters or dimes or nickels. I mean, the monetary supply of hard currency is dwindling. This is happening as we're talking, so that's not by accident or coincidence. There's a recognition around the globe that we can utilize currencies like this in many ways to help level the playing field and keep things a whole lot more honest. So, well, it's going to be an interesting time over the next month, 2 months, 6 months, and in crypto world, that's dog years, like 50 years or something like that. So in the next 50 years, crypto days, there's going to be a lot that we're going to be watching, and very excited about these things that are happening now with global economic players and businesses that are now validating where this is going as well.
Love it. So I know AJ couldn't be here tonight, one of our speakers last week. There were a couple of things he said that, I always find compelling. One is he compared the adoption of cryptocurrency to adopting to the internet. So whoever's old enough on this call to remember pre-internet, I was one of those people going like, I'm never going to buy my clothes online. That's ridiculous. And here I am buying stuff off Amazon almost every day. And if that is true, help us understand why WeGro is different than all the other cryptocurrencies out there. Because I think people like me see crypto and it's not built or doesn't look like something that was built for me and my demographic. So help everyone understand how WeGro is maybe doing next generation crypto. I think that's kind of how I think about it.
Well, if I might, let me clarify. I think what he specifically stated was that, blockchain more specifically is going to be this piece that is going to be very similar to the dawn of the internet. And that's, and starting it with that understanding, there is such a wave that is coming at this world related to the underlying technical base involved in blockchain that is radically going to expedite and provide information in ways that we've been, in many ways, looking for. It's going to fill data sets that where gaps existed in prior instances. But specifically in that comment, this wave of the change of blockchain as it relates specifically to currency is in many ways also a byproduct of that. And it's the chicken or the egg, in many regards. Is it the currency driving the adoption, or is it the other way around? And interestingly enough, it's almost as equally both driving in equal direction. The technology base that supports blockchain provides such a plethora of additional technical advances that were difficult to do in other means, that now we're more expeditiously and more economically able to assemble. And that wave of being able to do that at scale, at efficiency, and also with oversight and visibility in ways that have never been available to the marketplace to date. That's the wave that's coming towards us. And interestingly enough, WeGro sits at the intersection of this. And without getting too much into our advances, because I really love it when other members of our team talk, but we're doing some pretty fantastic things behind the scenes as a entity of WeGro. And understand that WeGro Coin is a subset or a piece of a much larger entity. And within that entity, we have already created our hyperledger. We're already that far into our next phase of development, understanding what that means. Our hyperledger is our blockchain. And then understanding what I was saying about the wave of advances that are going to come. This is our base moldable piece of tech, and I'm trying to boil this down into layman's terms. Consider it a block of clay, but it's a solid block of clay right now that's ours. This block of clay at this point in time has all the capacity to do a great many things that we couldn't do in prior years or prior technologies, inherently already in that block. Now it's up to us to mold exactly how that connects and what's available once it's all connected. So WeGro is doing some phenomenal advances behind the scenes. We have an immense team that can't be here with us tonight. I'd like to at least acknowledge them. First of which is Abby Sklar. It's her birthday today, so I want to say happy birthday, Abby. And then we have an immense, we've talked about AJ Jagori. We've talked about other members of our team, Sekou Bamba. And then we have an entire a marketing division and team of 20 people there. We have a tech partner that has an entire team supporting us in the development of our platform. So we have an immense group of people on a day-to-day basis that are making this engine come alive and be able to do all the things that we've mapped out. If you get a moment, please check out our website. Take some time to digest the content there, and you're going to get a better picture of some of the things that I'm talking about tonight.
Cool. It's exciting. I want to hear from some other people, though. We got all these smart people on the call tonight. Let's get some other people's opinions. Todd, who should we pick on next?
Well, I think Mr. Crawford might be a good choice to talk about our tokenomics. And
Happy to do so.
yeah, and as Walt is alluding to, Sean, crypto really, I think, has arrived in the mainstream. There was a major event that AJ brought up last week. And who doesn't know who Warren Buffett is? And who once called crypto rat poison? And for those who are already cryptomaniacs, cryptologists, we know about the Brazilian bank called Nubank. Nubank is one of the original exchange traded funds, EFTs for short. And Berkshire Hathaway just invested in the end of Q4, right before New Year's Eve, $1 billion in Nubank, which is very, very heavily invested in crypto. So we're seeing the paradigm starting to shift, Sean Crawford. And if you could elaborate on that and talk about cryptonomics as it pertains to WeGro, that'd be fantastic.
Well, thanks, Todd. Yeah, and let me start off by saying happy birthday, Abby. So I think the writing's on the wall with cryptocurrency and its usefulness in today's world. It is the round wheel in a square wheel society. I say that all the time. It's the better way of doing things, and good luck putting that toothpaste back in the tube, because when there's a better, easier way to do things, you'll be hard pressed to keep doing it the harder, more expensive way when everyone else around you is taking advantage of the technology. And that's where WeGro comes in. We have a component that brings value to the way we do transactions. And that's the whole idea, the whole design behind the WeGro system is we're able to bring more than just the inherent value of trading cryptocurrency from one person to another. We have the ability to collect very useful data, anonymous data that can translate to a benefit to the ecosystem as well as the holder as simply a byproduct for us doing what the system is designed to do, and that's create transparency and connectedness in the community. And really, I haven't seen too many people out there that's taking the approach the way that WeGro is. I've seen plenty of people who, well, maybe not plenty, but I've seen a small handful of people that are looking to harness the power of people's data and put it back into their hands, but not in a way necessarily that lends itself to empowering the community in an interconnected way that gives the individual the power of controlling their data in a permissive fashion, where they have the ability to control what they're sharing and who they're sharing it with, and or directly see the benefits from that interaction. And WeGro has a 8% transaction fee for crypto to crypto transactions. So 5% of that 8% is immediately redistributed in the form of smart chain BNB to the holders, to all the holders of WeGro. So the more WeGro you hold, the more reflections you get back. And because we don't have a ton of wallets where we're collecting a majority of those reflections, the community receives back a majority of those reflections back to their wallets. So WeGro is set up to benefit the holder first, and to, remunerates people in smart chain, which prevents a negative downward selling pressure on the token by, other tokens will give reflections in the form of their native currency, just as an instance, which, love the team over there, but SafeMoon will give it, remunerate reflections in the form of their own token, which, people sell off those reflections and it creates a downward selling pressure on the token. We do it in smart chain. So if anything, people end up buying back in with their smart chain reflections. And if anything, gives a positive effect on the charts because of that. Another 1% of the 8% goes directly back into liquidity on Pancake, raising the relative price floor to whatever it is at the time, creating more stored value there for WeGro. And then the remaining 2% goes into expanding the ecosystem surrounding WeGro and another way in which it benefits the holders. So we will find the best data companies or point of sale companies or any other supply chain companies that where we can extrapolate more data, which brings more value to the holders, and where there's anywhere that we can insert WeGro as a way of settling transactions, creating more volume for the holders as well. So by design, WeGro is set up to be a self-perpetuating and self-perpetual engine that is constantly redistributing and putting money back into liquidity of the token, just as a simple byproduct of doing transactions and increasing the transparency within our ecosystem. So it's a byproduct where the holder gets the benefit just from the simple functions of WeGro and how we operate, how it works.
For the edification of our audience, Sean, what I'm hearing, I just want to frame this for those that might be new. If someone holds WeGro, someone purchases tokens, even if they're inactive and they put a hold on it and they say, I'm going to just watch what happens after the next year. The proactivity of the company benefits every placeholder, regardless of what they do. Correct. So we, of course, like in any situation, but the difference here is that every transaction, every move we make, I sound like Sting, every breath you take, every cake you bake, every move we make is going to eventually come back and provide a yield for the placeholder. Yes?
Actually can't say it better. Within our ecosystem, there's many ways in which the holder can benefit. Some of it is by holding, which there, you receive static reflections from that. It's a form of staking, essentially, but by simply holding the tokens, you receive reflections based on the amount that you hold. So holder, a lot of incentive to hold there. With the upcoming WeGro wallet and the WeGro debit card, we will start to be able to extrapolate data, user data from when you buy a soda at the store, when you pay for your child's tuition expenses, when you buy a meal the next time you go out to dinner. That volume, the holders are going to benefit from the volume from the transactions going in and out of WeGro, just as the other businesses that we accumulate from in quest to expand the ecosystem. Those businesses are settling transactions in WeGro. So as this is happening, it increases the volume. So by sharing your volume, people are incentivized to sell WeGro and to buy more and sell more and to transact with it. And there's value there in the form of their data that they get to see by directly interacting with WeGro. And then a third way in which people can benefit from WeGro is within an ecosystem development that we're doing with our WeGro wallet, where interaction with the data of some of the things that you buy, just by answering a few questions about those things, that you can actually see smart chain reflections come back to you for those interactions with that data and adding to that data set, making it more valuable for yourself and for the WeGrow community. It's pretty cool stuff.
It's amazing. So unlike a traditional stock where the value goes up and down, there's more than one dividend that the WeGrow placeholder experiences benefit from. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, not necessarily a dividend. I want to steer away from that verbiage, but yes, but very similar in concept.
Absolutely. And talking about the democratization of data, might be a good segue, Rachel, maybe have our CEO talk about the roadmap and what the data means going forward for the community.
Yep, for it, Rick.
Sure, absolutely. I've talked a little bit about the data here and there, talked about the value. I think everybody understands that, if you're not paying for a service out there, you're the product. You look at Facebook, you look at Google, Amazon, your data is constantly being updated and licensed and sold and brokered out there daily. Interestingly enough, we're freely giving up that information, and it's worth a lot of money. Just having the idea of knowing that somebody exists, a login in Facebook, a usage of Google, those are worth cents already. And if you actually look at baseline value of that, that data actually grows even without that additional level of data that's added to it. So after 45 days, that can run anywhere between a half a penny and 9 cents. Between day 45 and day 90, when you start adding touch points such as likes, dislikes, whether or not you identify in a certain age group, ethnicity, family income, location, those start getting greater in value as the days go by. Once you hit day 90, those range anywhere between $10 and $27. And those are actual new numbers that were put out in the last week, actually. About that point, it starts turning into a hockey stick. When you identify and start sharing information like retail usage, medical usage, you identify as a patient, that runs anywhere between $2,700 and $4,000 a record every 45 days that data is refreshed. When you look at this at a grand scheme and you look at the top 270 data brokers out of the 4,400 data brokers that are currently licensed, that represents over $111,000 of licensed information to that individual user. That's a huge number. And frankly, it's crazy that we're leaving that money on the table as individuals. Now let's look at what Facebook and LinkedIn and all these companies value your personal record on whole. When WhatsApp was purchased, and we're talking very light data. We're talking about usage data. We're talking about time data. We're talking about location. That's it. They value each one of those records at any given point in time at $40 a record. LinkedIn's data, when it was purchased, $65 per record. And we're talking tens of millions of records within that data sector, that data quant alone. So you can see how this can create a snowball effect and have a lot of value to not only an individual, but a business. And what we've done is we have built in a mechanism that allows for us to create utility around storing and permissively sharing your data, but also being remunerated for it, for licensing and choosing what data you're going to be able to share and getting paid for that back in WeGrow. And that's where it becomes extremely powerful. Sean talked a little bit about how the transactional volume is really going to help with the reflections. The daily volume for utilizing your Visa or MasterCard or debit card is going to create more volume and more transactions that's getting back. But at the same time, we're also collecting data. Mm-hmm. And that data is yours to license and share now as well. So now we're able to understand that a certain person may be treating a condition, and is this aspirin working for them over time? Is what they're being prescribed by their doctor or their physical therapist working over time? If we start adding in data like, the time of day you go to Starbucks and have your caffeine and you're not realizing that venti is actually 300 grams of caffeine versus the typical, 90, and that's affecting your insomnia, that's valuable data. And we're talking about being able to license this type of data to anywhere from the FDA to drug and pharmaceutical companies, supplement companies, marketing companies. And you're looking at all of these other, organizations that are regularly buying, purchasing, and refreshing this data on a daily basis. We can start then actively creating actionable marketing insights. We can give your data back to you and help you understand everything from your own personal therapies to your retail buying habits to saving money in the future, while also creating that utility. And in this case, that utility could be as simple as I want to store my patient data online and be able to share it with all of my different specialists and general practitioners. I may want to store all my data for my immunizations for COVID and my 24-hour negative COVID test and share that directly with the TSA and turn it off when I'm done with my trip. So you have two sides of the data coin here, where you have an ability to use it for personal usage, enrichment, and for being able to be paid back for licensing that data.
So what I'm hearing is that the WeGro community, Rick, is the individual and industry. Industry is benefiting, markets benefiting, building our utility on the back end. But what I'm hearing you saying, and keep me honest now, is the individuals. That means it could potentially even be the WeGro placeholder or the consumers / customers and clients of the businesses we engage in are going to be benefiting directly in their pocketbook themselves as
They
well.
absolutely will. And in conjunction with the WeGro token, the other two products that are coming out, which we now actually have names for, in addition to the extremely valuable plugins and DApps that are currently in development, create, and not to get too deep in it, it's a tertiary model. It means that it sits outside of the ecosystem that we're actually creating. And it's a governed, decentralized, bilateral data oracle. That means it's going both directions. It's both public and private. It allows us to, be able to use that utility. And what's extremely exciting about that is the data monetization and, get this, untethered participation in the blockchain economy. That means that, companies and people that would normally never be connected, or we'd never actually see that data, can be black boxed within WeGro data. And thus it provides a lot more value to all the participants and for those that aren't even participating. I'll give you a great example. If you want to share your full patient medical record, your doctor doesn't have to participate in the blockchain. It's as simple as scanning, a portal-based icon on your phone, and that data is now shared. Or you can send them directly to a unique URL that's only good for a certain amount of time that you allow it to be accessed. Additionally, it could be as simple as a simple code that you're sharing. Same thing, you can time it out, you can use it for that specific moment in time. It's up to you. But when you look at that consumer-facing app, we're applying that to businesses too. So it really becomes something that has a much more valuable offering over time.
So what I'm hearing you say, akin to someone who's an actor, a singer who gets a royalty every time their song is played on the radio, every time Denzel Washington's movie is playing on HBO, every time we see Robert De Niro do anything in a streaming service like Amazon Prime, they're getting a royalty. And our society is already used to the app. They're used to putting their QR code on a menu on the TV, for heaven's sake, during the Super Bowl. And we're used to taking a COVID test now and entering our information so our local healthcare center can log and measure the efficacy of the vaccine. So all of these normal basic behaviors, Rick, you're saying one day we're going to get a royalty check for that, just by doing what we're doing naturally. Did I get that correct?
I'll give you an exact number right now. If you were to share just that you identify your gender as male,
Right.
every single time you're sharing that or licensing that, that's 15 cents. Between you're in a specific age range, roughly 33 to 36 cents. Your ethnicity, anywhere between 11 and 62 cents, depending on what your area of the country or the world. Family income ranges anywhere between 19 cents and 33 cents every single time that's shared. Those are real numbers that'll help you understand how quickly this creates that snowball effect. You know, that royalty-based system that you just kind of described there.
Now, inquiring minds want to know, Rick. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a devil's advocate here because there's people right now watching around the world, watching this AMA and saying, yeah, right. What's the connection? You know, what is that intersection of technology that's going to allow Joe Schmo like me in Woodland Hills, California, to do what comes naturally and to get a royalty check?
Well,
What's the roadmap to that?
I'm sorry, and I'll let Rick finish this, but
He's
you know,
fine.
it's not necessarily what allows them to do it. It's just by the design of the system and the way in which we are transacting WeGro again from one place to another. It's simply a byproduct that's happening. The benefit that the user is receiving is a byproduct of just interacting with WeGro. Every time that you do, that data is collected and stored. It just so happens that because someone does, you know, well, let's just say for the sake of a round number, they do $100,000 in a year swiping their card, and the 100,000 products at $1 a piece or whatever it may be. That data is accrued, collected, and then just as a byproduct is remunerated to the holder, to the one who made those transactions, as well as there being an overall community benefit of the 8% fee, which is then redistributed to the holder. So whether you're holding WeGro, whether you're transacting in WeGro, or whether you're furthering the data set by interacting with WeGro, they stand to benefit as simply a byproduct of the ecosystem.
So obviously contingent upon being a placeholder of WeGro, Sean.
Well, to kind of add on to what Sean just said, that's the primary. When we go back to what I was saying about the tertiary function, when you start opting into sharing your data that's not collected through WeGro, when you start connecting the dots between the data that you want to share for utility, and you also want to monetize that data, that's where it just starts getting more interesting. You know, we talk about our primary business function, we're talking about our secondary business function, and that's utilizing our L2 blockchain as a service platform. And this allows for that on-chain and off-chain orchestration. You know, it is fully on our Hyperledger fabric that's allowing us to provide unified data integrity. And we can decentralize it, denode it, store it across multiple locations this way, keep it 100% compliant with CCPA, GDPR. You're looking at your health records. It's HIPAA compliant in the way that it's not only stored but collected and shared based upon your permissive settings. But it creates that ability to have disintermediation and reduce cost too.
Rachel, this is revolutionary.
I think so. And I'm going to brag on you guys because I say this is my favorite statistic. Of these 7,000 and a few more, 7,038 something, cryptocurrencies that were introduced into the market last year, 2021, 7%, that's 7%, had an asset tied to it. And the asset may not even be something as cool as what we just heard, but 93% of the cryptocurrencies are literally just out there like a slot machine in Vegas going like, maybe it's my turn to win. Maybe it's my turn to win. This is not that. And that's why I'm so excited and why I really am excited. You guys have done great tonight, and I can see what I'd love to see is little 30-second things like about each one of these case studies, because there's a lot to absorb. And it's like, okay, if my data is already being sold to someone else, I may as well participate in this, and the same exact information or less based on what I decide is getting sold. So I just want to say, like, good job, you guys. And I want everyone listening to understand that, yeah, this is not your run of the mill, hey, we're going to have a booth in Vegas with some girls with big boobs, come by and get some crypto off of us. This is a bunch of businessmen who have figured out a huge hole in what's coming up in the universe and filling it. So it's pretty exciting.
It sure is, Rachel. And I think we all want to hear from Justin, who hasn't had a chance to speak yet. But Justin, the way I'm a music junkie. Anybody can figure out? Hello, behind me. But we're almost creating the ASCAP. The entire matrix that has been around for 75 years that creates the royalties for publishers and songwriters, the ASCAP of the blockchain world. So this is revolutionary. And Justin, you came to us from a very unique position, and you've already been very successful. You almost retired. And would love to get your angle on what Rachel brought up and what Rick just and Sean just touched on.
I guess I would echo the couple sentiments that they've already really highlighted. Is what differentiates this is that there's an actual business model behind it that's supporting the token, whereas in most cases I would say
93%.
I thought it was even higher than that. Are just tokens that have no real utility or no real function besides maybe a clever name or a clever logo, or what influencer I can get to go tweet about me and get some people interested in buying the token. And what happens with those types of projects is, yeah, maybe you might make money in the short term if you trade it properly and you get in, you get out, but in the long term, that hype period fades. And eventually people then realize there is no function and they move on to the next project. Tokens in this space, what WeGro is doing, are building a model where, building something behind it that's going to create that resistance, those revenue injections that come from the byproduct of that extra volume that's being dictated by the use case, makes it so that this token can't ever die. You might have in the short term, a wonky looking chart, if people decide to exit their positions, but over time, as they start building out all the other pieces in the background, which again, they take some time to do this. So I don't want people to think like that these are coming, instantaneously. Like these things are complex moving pieces, but once they're all turned on, you're going to start to see, just as a holder, not only are you getting those reflections from all the volume, but as the price keeps organically just going up because of the volume of the usage, the revenue injections that come from some of these streams, that as a holder makes it a much more appealing investment than some other run-of-the-mill token that's out there that again is modeled off of what did Elon Musk tweet about yesterday, and how can I get as many people into it as quickly as possible and grab some cash really quickly. Like, this is where I think the crypto space is going to be morphing towards. And I've said it many times, if you're not doing something like this, you're going to be a dinosaur and you're going to be extinct, because people are fed up with investing into this space, particularly getting rug pulled, investing into tokens that are scams, investing into tokens that the dev team walks away. We call it dev abandonment, because eventually the dev team, if they don't actually have a business behind it, they're going to walk away once they see things going south. But the way that this team is structuring it is that this is an actual long-term business plan. And so I always tell people, I say, I think that's why you see we have a really good base of holders, of people that don't want to sell their position because they know what's coming down the pipeline, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year. And we've kind of given that roadmap through these AMAs over the last handful of weeks. And again, now we can probably tease a little bit more of some of the things that we're going to be doing. We have names behind some of the products now too. But yeah, I think that's really where I see this. Just when you say what differentiates, WeGro from the other tokens, is that's the thing. You know, you're benefiting as a holder from multiple avenues, whether it's me monetizing my transactional data, which could be when I'm swiping my credit card, like that could be paying the fees, you know, on my credit card, you know, from that data just alone. And then also being a token holder at the same point in time, benefiting from price appreciation and reflections that are coming from the chart. So it's one of those things where you decide when you want to exit your position, but you could, just as a holder, get remunerated enough on just those reflections over time that could have been more than your initial investment. And again, that's why people are into crypto. At the end of the day, the first reason why you're into crypto is it's an investment. It's a store of value. You're using it for a purpose that you can make money. That's where 99.9% of the investors are in this space. They want to make money. Well, this is a way you can make money. You can hold it, and we always say, like, what's a good long-term hold? This is, again, not a casino play, like Rachel was saying, where that's where I would say 99% of other tokens are. There's another token launching every 5 minutes, and you have no idea what that lifespan is going to be.
And
Yeah.
just to add to that, I'm sorry, I just as a little bit of teaser, I know it will be a little bit of time before we get some of these functions turned on, but as we speak now, I'm sitting in the conference room of one of the companies we were in talks with to acquire. So you know, can't really tell, but there behind me, that's us there working on some of the things that we have going on with these companies. So we're working towards it, and these things are coming. So.
And what's interesting is when we're talking about either acquiring these other companies or the tech that we're building, I've already had, and again, this is just from being in the space and knowing other token projects and getting to know some of their team members. I've had so many tokens reaching out to us saying what they're building over at WeGro, like, how do I license that? Like, how can I lease that technology? And so that's going to be just, again, another facet of the business where once we build this technology and we own it, we can lease it out to other tokens that want to use it for those purposes. And so you're building out an ecosystem just outside of this token, but again, will benefit organically the token holders from WeGro.
Thank you. That you've helped clarify and make it really simple. The insights are very eloquent, and I think you've codified a lot of what we've discussed tonight. I see a couple hands. Number one, Walt, you had your hand up earlier. I know you've been gathering questions from the community for Justin, and then after that, Rick, I know has a couple of questions. Walt, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. Yeah, so some things continue to bubble to the top of our social channels, and are questions that I hear from different directions and different platforms. So in no sense of order or importance, but I need to address these. Number one, our fork. Why did we do it? You know, if you're to look at our chart right now, people are questioning, oh my goodness, why did we go through that? So help explain to the community that it wasn't for nefarious reasons to some of the FOMO that's happening out there, that there was legitimacy in what we were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and so I'm even doing probably on my own token on our defined platform, we're doing in April when the liquidity opens up, we're doing our 4th fork now on that project. And the reason why you do it is because as the industry changes, you need to be able to adapt and change. So like we're doing another fork in April to add staking mechanisms onto our contract, which is again something that we've talked about. WeGro eventually will be doing that too. But the reason why we did it was strategic for a couple of reasons. You do it when there's not a lot of holders, so that there's not a lot of moving pieces. When we did that fork, there was so many people, we had to give them the new contract code, have them update it into their wallet. You saw the issues that we're still having with CMC and, you know, getting relisted on there. And even though we're relisted, like just getting the value to show up on Trust Wallet. So you want to do that when there's a handful, like 200, 300 holders instead of 200 or 300,000 holders, because then it just becomes messier. So we did it for that reason, where we knew we were in our infancy stages of the company. So it just made sense to do it and pull the Band-Aid off. but you had to be able to upgrade the contract for security reasons, for utility reasons, so that when we're doing these transactions, to build out with the other companies that we're interacting with, we had to do that for those upgrade reasons. So when people hear the fork, sometimes it could be nefarious when they can assume it's nefarious, because most of the time projects will fork and that liquidity that gets pulled out goes into the developer's hands, and you have to trust that the developers then are going to put that liquidity back into the new contract. And it doesn't always happen. You'll see it a lot of the times. Those developers will cut and run, the telegram disappears, the website goes down, and that money's gone. We didn't do that. Every penny that we pulled out went right back in. Everybody's starting price was exactly where they started before. And again, we tried to message and get that message out ahead of time, blasted it out as much as we could for the week leading up to it, to let everybody know, hey, when this fork happens, don't buy the old contract. That's not going to have any value to it anymore. So yeah, I can confidently say there was no nefarious reasons why we did it. It was all for positive reasons, for upgrade and functionality.
I was going to say, we even added additional 75 B&B for matching buys during that time frame as well. So the same amount of liquidity that came out went back in, plus an additional 75 B&B from our pockets, from the team's pockets.
Yeah, I forgot we did that, to be honest. Yeah, so that day,
more,
whatever they bought, we were buying as more, and then we were just burning it. We were just getting rid of the tokens.
That's right.
Send them to me.
We wish we could, but no.
That'd be illegal, right?
Well, maybe not, but it wouldn't be a benefit to the community if those tokens could be sold off. So
I see that, guys. Everyone's so legit over here. They can't even hook me up. That's how serious they are.
Now, the next question I've been getting is right up those same lines, Justin. And it's people can say, why can't I still find the old chart? Why can I still see WeGro out there? There's confusion. If I look at net, and one of the concerns I heard voiced to me today was, well, if I'm confused at all and I'm making a knee-jerk buying decision, they're questioning where we're sitting today.
Yeah.
So how do we address that?
Yeah. So here's where we kind of get into the mechanics of like how these contracts work. So if you think of the take a penny, leave a penny jar, this is the simplest analogy I can kind of give you on how does a token work. So when you go to the gas station, that take a penny, leave a penny jar is empty. That's what a smart contract is. That's the jar. And until you put a penny into that jar, there's no liquidity into those tokens. So all the tokens could be out in people's hands, but they're worthless. They have no actual value. I could send tokens. I could go make a Justin Marr token right now, send them to all my buddies, but they can't sell those in the secondary market until I actually physically put liquidity into it. Now, that's how we started the original token, was we put liquidity into it. And then as you're buying and selling the tokens, you're either pulling pennies out of that jar or you're adding pennies into that jar. So you're adding to liquidity, you're pulling it out. Unbeknownst to us, somebody else decided to put money into the liquidity pool. They decided to put their own pennies in. So someone literally went and bought 35 B&B worth of tokens. And then they took 35 B&B and they paired them up and they put them into the liquidity pool. And we had no idea they did that until when we went to go pull our liquidity out to move it into the new token, there was 35 B&B left and we couldn't pull it out. So people said, well, why didn't you just kill the token? Well, you can't. I can't get rid of that penny jar ever. Once it's on the blockchain, it's coded language, it's there forever. The only thing we can do to kill the token is to pull the liquidity out. And so what we had to do is, at that last point, we had to just sell tokens to pull that last 35 B&B out. And while we were doing that, people were thinking they were getting a really good deal and that there was a huge dip and they were gonna, get a huge amount of the supply for cheap. So people started throwing like $5-10 in. And every time we would sell $5 or $10, someone would buy $5 or $10. And so we were battling with them over the last couple B&B that was left in that liquidity pool. And unfortunately, until that other stranger out there decides to pull his liquidity tokens out, like that old contract's still going to exist. And there's nothing we really can do about it. We can't, if we had the light switch, we obviously would already have done that. So, the only thing we can do is, update and tell people that's the old contract. Don't buy that one, buy the new contract. And going forward, I think this is also where, there's got to be a little bit of responsibility on, the investor. If you go and you search WeGro and people are telling you it's a great investment and you go look at the old chart, it just goes straight down. You're going to know that that's not probably the right WeGro. There's probably copycats, knockoffs of us that we don't even know about. Anytime there's a successful token, I mean, when McDonald's tweeted something about Grimace, and within 10 minutes, there was 7 Grimace tokens out there, and they all launched with like, well, which one's the real Grimace? Like, who knows? I mean, they're all fake essentially, but so that old token, we can't get rid of it until that other mysterious person who put the liquidity in takes it out. All we can say is we can just say, follow our website. Don't go asking for other people with a contract code. Come to our Telegram, come to our socials. We've updated all of that. So we should be able to divert you into the right area. And if you have questions, like ask one of the people on the team, ask one of our admins. We'll direct you to be able to make sure you're getting the right token. And again, once CoinMarketCap can figure out this little glitch that they have with our pricing, you'll be able to see in real time in your wallet, even if you're still going to own the old tokens for the old contract, you'll be able to see which one actually has value and which one doesn't. So then you'll know which one you're actually buying or selling to.
Great advice.
Helpful too.
Great advice. Goes without saying, homework and due diligence, you need to always do that. I think there's a couple questions out there I'm seeing regarding, you just mentioned, Justin, pertaining CoinMarketCap. Sean, do you want to give us a status on that?
Yeah, we've been going back and forth with CoinMarketCap trying to get it worked out. We updated the API, so this way they would have the most up-to-date version of our circulating supply. Everything seems to have worked there, but for whatever reason, it's still not displaying the price. We're going back and forth with them. Our last communication with them was this past Monday. We're waiting a response, and we should have something as soon as humanly possible. We are doing everything we can to make this happen fast. Unfortunately, we're at the behest of circumstance right here. So we will get that updated as soon as it is possible. In the meantime, CoinGecko is reporting it. No issues over there. Same exact API, same exact everything. And so if you have MetaMask, that price, that value is reflecting in there. So, if you guys didn't already know, you can populate your seed phrase from your Trust Wallet into a MetaMask account, and you can see your value over there. So if you're growing impatient with the Trust Wallet, seeing your values there, go ahead and populate that seed phrase you have into a MetaMask, and you'll have to enable the BSC network in there. Google search how to enable BSC on MetaMask, and just follow the steps in filling out the network name and information there, and it will populate there in your MetaMask, and you can see the values.
Great advice, Sean. Thank you. That's really edifying for our viewers. Rachel, I think, Walt, I think you had a couple other questions on behalf of the community in social media land.
Well, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder.
You're the CEO, steal it.
No, please.
You've earned the right.
Do tell, Rachel, please do tell.
Are we talking about ambassador program?
That was our cherry on the sundae, Rachel. But
everybody look in your chat if you are watching this. I will also say it out loud. We've been waiting. It launched today. So we have, if you haven't heard this before, an ambassador program, and we're asking people to spread the word. Anyone can join. I don't even want all crypto people. I really don't. I want people like me who are going to learn it along the way. And the ambassadors we've decided we're all going to get together and kind of share information. So if one of them has an expertise that will help the rest of us be more successful ambassadors, then we'll all get together and talk about it. I'm really excited about it. We put a lot of resources and time into it, and we partnered with a company called Social Toaster, and it's legit. They can track everything you do as far as your sign up, and you will be rewarded appropriately and fairly. And it doesn't as I joke around and say, it's not just a spreadsheet where Rachel chooses the winner, which I have done before. So it's good I'm not in charge. This is legit. And it is run by Social Toaster. So go take a look at it. If you can't see something, it's WeGro.socialtoaster.com. And I'll get you into the ambassador program. It's on our website too. If it's not there right this minute, it'll be there tomorrow. And we invite anyone who wants to support what I feel is a fantastic group of people who have great business minds and a really altruistic nature about them all. And I'm just really excited to be a part of it. Enough so that I'm here at 8 o'clock on a work night, just talking about that. I think it's going to be a big deal. And I would love for more people to feel welcomed and involved. So please join us.
Rachel, you've done an amazing job in
Yeah.
leading it along with Walt and the team. And maybe tell them a little bit more about, Rach, how easy is it to get messages out to all of their social networks?
That's super easy. In fact, it ties into the social media. Honestly, I am that person. I'm a good person to test with, because if there's too many steps, I'm not doing it. Nope. It was really easy, real quick, and very straightforward. So I think this is just the launch. If we see stuff or people come to us and say, well, you know, what we think would be even more cool, I want to know. It's meant to be a living, breathing program that we can make better and adjust to as we need to. And that might mean a different audience or might mean a different focus. I don't know yet, but it's definitely something that, you know, it's about more than just the coin. It's being part of the WeGro group.
That's
And
awesome.
that's why I'm here.
Oh, and I just want to clarify, WeGro is spelled WEGRO, no W,
Thank you.
Social Toaster, all one word, .com. WeGro.socialtoaster.com.
Yes, and it is on the website. So yeah, I hope to see some more ambassadors joining, and don't feel like you can't contact me. There's a place on there to do that too if you have more questions, but don't be nervous. We're not going to hassle you. We just want you to have fun with us.
Amen. Absolutely.
You're
Well,
awesome.
before we close out tonight's segment and say a bit adieu to our beautiful community, friends and family, who would like to just give a quick headline on some of the things that we've already accomplished here at WeGro on the tech utility side behind the scenes? I'm thinking Chrome extension, Hyperledger, Charity. Do you want to each take a turn, maybe give it a headline, executive team? And
How's work feeling?
I think you just did, Todd. I really just think you just did.
Well,
maybe
I
so,
think
but
you just did. And I'm going to steal the mic for a minute because there
perfect.
is lots of stuff that's happening out there. You know, for starters, there's a lot of things that are happening in the marketplace. For those of us that are tracking the marketing that we're doing, please keep an eye out for it. We're dropping lots of things into the marketplace, and lots of people are picking up our story. Just this week, Crypto Moonlight, an influencer on YouTube, did how long was it? It was almost a 20-minute overview of WeGro, and had over 50,000, almost 51,000 views, which was very impressive. That many people really bought into the story, and had the time to sit there for 17 minutes and listen to. I was blown away. And very proud that there's this community forming out there that's now understanding the larger purpose of what we're really trying to accomplish. So things like that are monumental steps in the direction that we're heading. There's going to be additional announcements, team members that we're going to be adding to the team. There is additional contests and things that we've been talking about. We alluded to it last week, but unfortunately, I spoke prematurely. The gentleman who helps us with these contests and has been our longstanding contest runner, Mr. Justin Marr, has been a very busy man over the last few weeks, and unfortunately the contest that we alluded to on our AMA last week, he wasn't there to hear. I wasn't aware we were going to miss paths when it came to calendars and availability. And unfortunately, we didn't launch it this week. So one of the things I will throw out to the community as we march forward is we want to invite you to invite more of your friends, more of your followers, more of your community to come check us out. And if you do so, we're going to make it worth your while. We've done this contest once before in a different manner. I'm going to let again, I'm going to toss them. I'm going to put Justin Marr on a spotlight for a minute, but because we didn't even have to really chance to talk about this prior, but I think he can understand where I'm heading. I want to do a contest to get people to invite their friends and help grow our community.
Yeah, kind of like what we did the other time. Yeah, and so I was just traveling. We went to our family, all my siblings and everything. We went out to Disney. And I came back. I was in town for maybe 2 days. Now I'm out in California for a wedding. So I've just been on the road a little bit this last 2 weeks. So just been a little busy. But yeah, whenever you're ready to run that, we'll get caught up on the same page, and I can help with that.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Well, Rachel, why don't you bring us home and help us turn out the light and maybe retire for the evening.
Okay, well, I know that everyone has a lot going on, so thanks for making the hour. If you have something you really, really want to talk about or hear more about, we always want to know, because the AMAs will also change over time to be deeper dives or different people, and we want to hear from you so we know which direction you want to go. If you want to, give us some ideas. Send it to info@WeGrowCoin.com. Again, that's info@WeGrowCoin.com. No W in the grow. We're too cool for that. Anyways, thanks everyone. I hope you learned a lot. I always do. And I know a few of you are not feeling good tonight, or you're trying to have a nice holiday with your family. So thanks for being great panelists. You always do a great job. And I feel smarter. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Rachel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.